1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with a clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
What? Uh-oh, that's not good.
That's not good.
Are you seeing that, Tom?
Yeah. Turn off your Dropbox.
Me?
Yeah,
What?
you.
Stop. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's
God.
bad, man.
That is horrible.
Sweet, get the night off.
Oh man.
We can't have one episode without some kind of problem.
No, we really can't. I mean, and honestly, you need to rebuild your system. I rebuilt my system. I'm pretty sure John is hovering around the same area as well, where it's time to do a fresh install.
It's time to lose my laptop in an airport.
I got that laptop back, by the way.
You did?
Yeah.
I thought you never did.
No. I got it back. Yeah.
So you gonna send out the audio link?
I guess I was hoping John would get his stuff fixed, but I guess there's no reason to wait for that. Yeah, sorry about that.
You don't have to wait for me. My stuff works just fine.
At least the local recording will be good.
Except we don't do a local anymore.
I can hear you guys just fine.
We hear every third word from you. So just keep that in mind when you're talking on the show. Just make every third word relevant, and we should just cruise through this one.
So just double your relevancy.
How about I just don't talk on the show and we're good?
All I heard was, "How about I talk during the show?"
That's I heard too. I don't think that's a good idea. You talking the whole show, John. Quite frankly, even without your issues.
That's not what I said.
I know that's what you said. We all heard you.
What
It's
is
fine.
going on? Stop. You guys are just making stuff up now.
No. You don't still have VirtualBox running, do you?
And my machine locked up.
God, shut down.
So
Everybody's fired! Everyone's fired!
You're off to.
Yeah, there's Discord. I need
really
two people. I need two people to join me for the live podcast tonight. Let's go. Discord, Mastodon, Twitter. Anybody who's watching can pop on now.
All right, just start us up, Eric. Just do it.
No, don't do that. No, wait.
Wait, you sound good.
Let me fix.
You sound fine now.
Yeah, you sound good now. Your
That's
video's good too. Or you're delayed. Watch his.
No, don't say that. No, don't. I am not delayed.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, maybe you're not.
See, I'm delayed mentally, but not technologically. Technologically. All right, so we're good to go again. I mean, I'm shutting down everything I can possibly think of.
You're definitely you're coming back for sure.
You got whatever it was.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. If you want to keep shutting things down, I'll wait another minute or two.
No, I think we're good. I have Discord, Telegram, Chrome, which I shut most tabs down at this point.
I actually shut down my Dropbox, but I'm not going to. Yeah, let's keep that running for a second.
So that. There's that. Sorry for the delay, everybody. We will be with you at some point.
I'm locked up again. There we go.
Try to eat more fiber. We ready?
God, I don't know what's.
I'm ready whenever you are.
No, now I'm worried about Tom.
Hold on. Chrome is disk thrashing. That's bizarre. You're gonna have to give me 1 minute. I need to figure out.
Yeah. I got nothing better to do. Not like I had a meeting earlier or anything.
It's funny because it's true.
Uh-oh. OBS is frozen.
Yeah, like I'm totally, like I said, something in Chrome is disk thrashing.
And you can't reboot without stopping and starting the stream, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's just Chrome. I don't know.
We really should think about moving this to that restream like I did for Roundtable. We don't get all the cool overlays and stuff, but at least something like this, it just continues to go. How's everybody doing in Discord? Mr. Ferguson.
Okay, it's resolved itself.
Not on our end. Your OBS. Oh, I guess it has. It's all right. I guess it's moving. Okay, you want to try to squeeze this in?
Let's do it.
All right. You're listening to episode 288 of PHPUgly. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me is John Congdon.
Happy anniversary, Eric.
Thank you, sweetheart. And Tom Right Up.
Happy birthday?
Oh, no.
Was it close?
Yeah, you're actually very close. My birthday was a couple weeks ago. We talked about it on the show.
Right. That's why I don't remember.
Yeah. No, it's my wonderful wife and my 33rd wedding anniversary.
Jesus.
I have physically been with her than I have longer than anybody else in my life, including my own parents. I mean, like, obviously, I've been related to my parents longer, but I only lived with my parents for like 20 years. And we
have 20 years
together. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was 17 in GTFO.
Oh, first couple of years weren't up to him.
Yeah. Yeah, the wife and I been together, been through some shit too, man, I tell you, but we're still here. It's nice. I have to be honest with you, and it's messing with my head hard. We've talked about it on the podcast before, but for those of you who haven't heard, I had a speech impediment growing up as a child, and it was very pronounced. And I know I still have a speech impediment. And I know I have a very unique way of speaking because people always say, hey, the moment I heard your voice, I knew who you were. And I take it as a compliment, but I know in the back of my head it's because I talk weird, especially certain words. So for me to do this every week, especially at the beginning, was just such a Herculean, that effort that I had to overcome. And John has mentioned in the past how my master plan was always to be a producer and have other people be on the podcast, and I just couldn't seem to do that. So anyway,
but you're so good at this.
So
hence you having 3 podcasts that you're on.
I had an appointment today with a physician, and one of the things that came up was some issues I have with hearing, and the fact that actually relates. So the wife and I are talking through this today, and she starts pointing out like some of the words and sounds that I don't hear correctly, and I constantly say
whenever the kids are talking. Yeah, whenever the kids are talking, nothing, just nothing.
One of the words she called out was the way I say episode. Apparently, I don't say that correctly when I say it in normal conversation. I say episode, not episode. Anyways, it's messing with my head, man. It's messing with my head.
You've always said it. You say episode every week, and I've never caught that.
So I am hard of hearing, but that's not why I have a speech impediment. I have a speech impediment because I have a speech impediment. I had one as a child. I had a stutter. I was told for years as a young child, my family and my best friend were the only people who could understand me when I spoke. If a stranger came up or somebody from outside the family, I couldn't communicate with them because of how I spoke. I had to go through therapy for this. I did a lot of training. I did a lot of soul searching. But yeah, it's a lifetime of effort in trying to improve. It's actually one of the reasons I really now enjoy doing the podcast, and I like editing the podcast because I still hear the problems when I edit the podcast. I'll hear myself say something in post, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what was that word? But yeah, it's a lifetime of trying to improve. So I appreciate everybody who hangs out with us. I appreciate you, Tom, you, John, for putting up with it for 5-6 years now. It's amazing.
Well, and it's the easy joke to go to, and we never do. So,
and Eric, I appreciate you putting up with me missing out on scheduled meetings. Thank you. See, I put up with you. You put up with me. It's a great relationship. What can I say?
I wasn't going to bring it up, but no, that's worse, John. Let's be clear. That is worse.
So Eric sends me a message. We have an 8:30 meeting on Thursday nights. He sends me a message 2 minutes prior saying, "Hey, are you joining us?" I don't see it. 20 minutes later, he goes, do I have to share with you how frustrated I am right now? I'm like, fuck, he's pissed off at me beyond belief. So beyond belief. And I felt so bad.
No, well, he did think you were dead because you were also late to the podcast. So he was wondering if I was on before 9 o'clock. Like safety harness.
So prior to, I was late or didn't show up to our meeting at 8:30. I got in here 5 minutes before 9 to start recording, and all of a sudden I hear this ruckus out in our kitchen. My dog was spayed today, and all I heard was her whimpering like she was being attacked, and she was by my other dog.
Not like accidentally spayed. Like there's a ruckus in the kitchen, and now the dog's spayed, so that saves time.
So I ran out there, got back in here, ended up being right on time, not late. Thank you very much.
I don't know if it was on time. But no, John didn't even give you the most important part about him missing the 8:30 meeting. The 8:30 meeting is there because John was so like, we have to have a meeting every week at 8:30 before we do the podcast. It was his demand that meeting was, not only did we have that meeting, but this day at that time.
That's weird. I've never been invited to that meeting.
Well, it is with our international developer who is on a different time zone, and this is a convenient time.
That's true.
Does Canada count as an international developer? I work with a lot of Serbians. I don't know if Canada counts.
Canada probably doesn't.
Got other developers.
My nephew came over this evening, introduced us to his new girl friend. I think it's girlfriend, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, he came over and I was hanging out with him, and then all of a sudden he came over, got some camping equipment, and when he left, I was like, "Oh shit, I have a meeting tonight." And I looked at my phone, and that's when I saw Eric's messages. I was a little bit late to it. Sorry, dude.
It's all right. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it somewhere later, but yeah, if I could fire a CEO, then you would be worried.
But no, I did not forget to buckle my harness, and yes, I got my P2 certification. So thank you very much.
I saw that.
Highlight of the week. So excited by it.
You also did miss that appointment too, though, because I saw that you could have gotten it a day earlier, but you screwed up and got it a day late. So it's been a rough week for everybody.
That's funny. I forgot about that. So yeah, we have a checklist. After every time we do a class or a maneuver in the sky or whatever, after class we go in and we sign off. The instructor puts the date, their initials, and then we initial saying we've done this. And I got everything done. Got the number of flights I needed, the number of spot landings. The only thing I needed was my emergency procedures course. And my instructor and I both thought we did it, but it wasn't marked off. And I'm like, no, maybe I didn't do it. So Tuesday we get there. I got way more flights in, way more comfortable. And then at 4:30, the winds kind of died down. And he's like, all right, let's go pack up. I'm like, hey, can we do this? So he was gracious enough to do this part of the class. And it's only a 20-minute presentation. As soon as he brought the first slide out, I'm like, shit, I've done this already.
I've seen this episode.
And then he's like, you needed it. You're sitting through it again, because there are two other people in the class that did need it. So I'm like, all right, I'll hang around and go through it again. And then I had to jump off a stool into the grass to do a parachute landing fall. And I ended up having to do it 3 times because it turns out I can't roll to my left. I can't. I'm like,
is there a story there?
No. What's that? Zoolander. I'm like Zoolander. I can't turn left.
Really?
Like I jumped off, and the way you're supposed to like land and roll, like they were joking that I looked like a burrito. I kind of rolled quickly, and luckily there's one of the other students is really big into skydiving. And he's like, why don't you try rolling to your right? So I jumped and rolled to my right, and I did everything exactly like I was supposed to. It's the weirdest thing.
See, this is the kind of Patreon only content that we're supposed to have, where it's just a TikTok called John Tries to Roll to the Left.
I do plan on putting the camera on my helmet now that I got more experience and I'm a little more comfortable with everything. I didn't want to risk anything. There were too many times where I would turn or try and get out of something, and the lines would wrap around the GoPro mount that's on the helmet. I'm like, if I had a GoPro up there, it'd be even worse. But
did you get the 360?
Yep, I've got that.
Awesome.
So I plan on doing some more, and I now can go to the glider port that's only a couple miles from my house. I actually went up there last night and sat there for an hour, and nobody showed up, and I'm too new to be stupid enough to jump off a mountain by myself.
Yeah, who would do that? You've got to do it with friends, like Mom always said.
Meanwhile, I'm getting encouragement in Telegram, like, just land into the wind. I'm like, no, this is my first time. I'm not going by myself. I need support.
There's just some homeless guy
When I
telling you,
when I-
hey, nah, just land in the wind, man. You'll be fine.
when I crash, I want somebody that is smart enough to call 911 for me.
Oh,
Silly old-
boy.
So I did a boneheaded thing,
What did you do?
and I felt really stupid after I did it. So we were talking. You're not going to get this on the audio stream, but we were talking before we started the show. Everybody's been having system problems. I had rebuilt my system, my desktop system, a couple of weeks ago now, and about a week after I started rebuilding my desktop system, I had I cracked my stupid Pi SD card. That was funny. Just so I'm an idiot. I mean, I'm a pretty well documented and established idiot, but I've had this Raspberry Pi running for years. I use it for a couple things. It runs CouchDB on it that synchronizes with some other CouchDBs out on the internet.
Going back to last week, that's part of your proof of concept work that you've done.
Yeah, it's true. And one of the database it syncs is the PHPUgly shows. So I have an RSS. What do I have? I have a job on one of our servers that gets our RSS feed and then puts all that documentation into a CouchDB instance. And then that CouchDB instance starts replicating out. And my Pi was always one of them. So whenever I was doing work, I would hit this Pi to kind of get the show notes and things like that. But I had it mainly for backups. I had a bunch of my SQL dumps on there. I actually I would do an rsync of my repos over there. So in the event that I was away from my desktop and I couldn't get access to it, but I could get access to my Pi, I could rsync my repos, my current repo down. It did a lot of things. And it just ran for years. I mean, it was like I literally just had it sitting back there. For whatever reason, I have it sitting back there where it has a heat sink on it. For whatever reason, I grabbed this thing the other day and I'm like, I have a case for this. I should try putting it in the case. So I take off the heat sink and I'm trying to put it in the case and it's still running, mind you. Like I don't even bother to unplug it. I just let it run. Right. So I'm trying to put it in the case and it's just not quite fitting. I'm like, that thing back there. And I'm looking over it. I'm like, oh yeah, that must be a little tab that has to click in. So I jam it in there. It was the freaking SD card. It just snapped in half. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, that's
so when you say jam,
bad.
you jammed that in there. That wasn't you didn't try to nudge it there. You
didn't jelly it.
I haven't even gotten to the idiot part yet. That's just flagrant stupidity there. But what was really funny is I'm like, So I'm sitting there holding it. I'm like, I wonder if that killed it, or maybe it just cracked the case, you know? So I'm trying to SSH in. I'm like, it's not SSHing in. Like, yeah, I think it's dead. I turn around and look, and the little SSD card is smoking. I'm like, I didn't even know they could smoke. Like, what the hell's that thing smoking for?
Never let the smoke out, ever. That's a bad call.
So I say all of that to say that I had to rebuild my Pi. And I decided, I've gotten a lot of experience with Pis over the years, and there's been a lot of advancements made.
Broke at least one of every model.
with the OSs. So I know Pop! OS had a version of their desktop for Pi. I don't run it. I don't run the desktop. It's typically a headless install. At least with the Pi OS, I know how to do the headless install. I've done it for years now. But I wanted to try something different, and I was thinking about going with the Pop, but like a lot of the articles I was reading, a lot of people have been using Manjaro, which is the distro I was thinking about putting on my desktop when I did my rebuild. And I'm like, nah, I'll stick with Pop. But a lot of people talk about the Manjaro build, or Manjaro build for the Pi. I'm like, all right, let me give that a shot. So I install it. It runs really well. It's based on Arch. It's an Arch distro. So I'm learning a few of the commands and how to do the installs. And I have it running for a couple days. I'm like, wow, I'm liking this. And I got to say, it seems a little quicker. I did install a GUI desktop version just because, I don't know, it does have a minimal version you can install, but I wasn't comfortable enough with knowing all the Arch commands that I thought I better have a GUI there just in case I need it. So I went that way and I ran it for a few days. And I'm like, all right, this is perfect. I'm actually very happy with this. I'm going to stick with it. I want this to run off a USB drive. And back in the day, that was always a problem with Raspberry Pis and having them boot from a USB drive. Well, it turns out today, it's simple as hell. Like, you literally just plug in a USB drive and it will boot from the USB drive. There's like no more jumping through hoops anymore. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's great. So I get the bright idea that I'm going to DD my SD card to my USB drive so I don't have to reinstall everything. And if for those aren't Unix and Linux people, it's what's that? Duplicate disk DD.
Yeah,
it's just cloning. It's cloning of a disk.
A
so I'm like,
device
all
of some sort, yeah.
And you can actually do it to like snapshot your disk as well as a backup. So I'm like, and I've done this a ton in the past. I used to DD servers over SSH as a method of backing them up. So I'm like, all right, this is great. So I know all the commands. I kind of know how to do it. I do some internet searching just to make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm like, all right, perfect. So there's two main things. There's IF, which is the input, and
the
OF, which is the output. So you're basically saying, I went from here to here. So you really want to make sure you have those disks correct when you're doing it. And
which I assume you did.
Right. I double checked. I triple checked. I'm like, all right, everything's perfect. All right, this is exactly how I want it. And I'm getting ready to run the command. I'm like, oh shit, let me just check one thing. I just want to make sure this one thing's right. And I unplugged both disks and I check what I need to check and I plug it back in, both disks. And I had already written out the command and I hit enter. And I sit there and I watch it for a second. I'm like, I wonder. And I check and the fucking disk assignments reversed. So now I was cloning my USB drive to my SD card and I just lost that entire rebuild. I'm like, son of a bitch.
So wait, why did you eject them and to look at them? What were you looking at?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
It's like a read-only toggle on the disk or something.
No. There was nothing like that. And honestly, as I was telling the story, I was trying to remember
because one's SD card, one's USB. So what could you possibly be trying to figure out?
I forget what it was. I was trying. I honestly don't remember what it was. And I'm at a complete loss. And I try to remember what it was when I thought to tell the story. Now it escapes me. And I can't believe I plugged them in backwards after that. And it never occurred to me. Like, it never occurred to me that they would get assigned the other way around.
So you went from device one, like they just flipped.
They swapped. Yeah, they swapped. So I spent the last 2 days rebuilding. So I'm pretty good at installing Manjaro on Pi now. And I'm liking it for what it's worth.
Had some practice.
I do.
So did you do the DD command right on the second attempt?
Well, there was no need for a second attempt. The second attempt was
built it straight to the USB.
Yeah, I just built the Manjaro image straight to the USB and it ran.
So, but what's the benefit of the USB versus the SD card?
So SD cards I feel very fortunate because I haven't had a problem, but they're notorious for not lasting very long.
If you're writing to them constantly,
Which mine
But-
mine gets written to constantly.
but USB devices have that same issue, don't they?
I don't think I think the life expectancy. Well, so this is an SSD card, so there's that piece of it. But I think the life expectancy for the USB drives are like 10 or 20 times longer than the SD card, from what I remember reading.
It really
But
depends.
the
It
other
depends on
the
the
other
one you get.
thing the other thing is USB drives are faster read writes and
Oh, so it's a
more
USB
space.
drive. It's a USB drive, not like a thumb drive.
yeah, it's a
Oh.
full USB drive. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was missing. I'm thinking of a like just a thumb drive USB stick.
Oh,
type
interesting.
connection.
Oh, yeah.
When you were saying that,
Yeah, no, it's a whole drive. So, but it also requires more power. So where I used to be able to power it off of like any USB-C plug-in, I noticed that with the drive attached to it, it needs to be it needs that USB cord needs to have power attached to it. It can't be like plugged into a computer or something.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Because I used to, if you remember, one of the things I was using that old image for before I busted it.
for your iPad.
Yeah, I could plug it directly into my iPad and then SSH to it over that. I wonder. I need to test that with the Arch distro and see if that works. But more importantly, if the iPad will be enough power to power it. So yeah, that's interesting. That's something I need to test. I don't know the answer to that one yet.
Probably not. So I'm assuming it's an external drive connected via
It is.
USB.
Yep,
Yeah.
which also gets its power from the device. So it's not there's not a separate power supply for the
Right.
drive. It all comes from the USB.
Yeah, I doubt
mean,
your
from the
iPad
drive.
is going to be enough.
Yeah, probably, and that really might be enough of an argument to keep a SD card image handy.
See, now you get to practice your DD command again.
That's right. Get it right this time.
Congratulations.
Oh, you got
I
it
was-
right.
Yeah, I did. This is reversed. That's almost as bad as the RMRF/.
Yeah, because you can screw that up so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of recoverable. DD is not really.
No, yeah.
Cover.
Once that DD starts, it's over because it busts that partition table and yeah, you're hosed.
Yep. Tom, how was your week?
Oh man, I made pickles.
Is that what this image is about? I was wondering.
Yes, this is a picture of my jars of pickles. I did not have work this week. It's been really
Don't you-
wonderful.
Tom, you're from Southern California. One of the things I love are the spicy carrots. You should do that with pickles. Make spicy pickles.
Well, these are a little bit spicy. These don't quite have the kick that they're going to have. This is my first attempt at pickling anything. This is just a refrigerator pickle.
So you decide
So-
to pickle pickles. That's sure.
Well, I
where
mean,
that could go wrong.
it's got lots of stuff going on in it. I might have overdone the garlic a little bit much. It still smells like garlic in my house.
You
But
cannot overdo garlic. I don't think that's possible.
you say that. I'll send you some pickles.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, not doing a lot of work computer wise, but really cleaning
Last-
the house up. And
Last week you said you were gonna keep working even though you were off. Wait, what happened?
well, I did a little bit of work on the Laravel 9 upgrade now that 9.14 is out, that has my patch to fix the
Wait, whose patch?
hour patch. My coworker and I. Turns out you can only submit a PR under one person's name, unless you are taking over somebody else's library. In which case, it's just 2 people can do it. It's not good. And just cleaning around the house and taking it easy. It's been nice. Working on my wallet. That's halfway done.
What do you mean? What wallet?
I'm making a wallet for myself.
Oh.
So just doing hobbies, keeping myself busy. But
Well,
that's
you're
So
done.
it's been a good week. It's been a good week off, in other words.
It's been a nice week off. It's been a very needed week off. Definitely could feel the burnout. Just sort of going away, not having to go to work on Monday.
Well, that was your goal, right?
That was the goal.
Eric, my week's been good. I've done a few things. We talked about the paragliding, which is the highlight of the week. The second highlight of the week, we got a PHP podcast out of the way, recorded prior to the magazine coming out.
We haven't released it yet. Don't get ahead of yourself.
It was recorded prior to finishing the magazine. I'm assuming it will be released prior to the magazine coming out.
It will probably. I'm gonna hustle and try to get it released. I might try to get it released tomorrow, but it will definitely be released this weekend.
Yeah.
And the idea behind that, in case anybody's wondering, is it gives subscribers a reason to listen because they can kind of get a sneak peek of what's coming in the magazine, and we'll see how it works out. John and I are
that
really
was our goal from the beginning. That was what it was supposed to be, and it just never became that.
Yeah. John and I are really stacking on the things we're trying to get done at the end of the month. I mean, it's just like, we don't have enough shit on our plate. Let's pile a few more things. But I agree with John. I definitely feel like this was always the goal of that podcast, is to have it released before the magazine was released. So
yeah. So I was excited to get that done. Had an interesting thing with the phone burner team where we had agile coaching come in and try to teach some, not necessarily teach yet. It's an ongoing process. But we've started the first part, and somebody asked for some feedback, and I gave my honest feedback, which sometimes I'm a little too honest. I'm a little too open. Maybe I shouldn't share as much as I do, but I did anyway. And it just seemed like a very long presentation to say, we're going to work with you. We're going to try and work with your team and find out what works for your team, but we're not going to tell you what to do. It's like, thanks. Appreciate it. Good job. It's a lot of the same. Like, we're going to try and teach you a couple things. You try them. If it works for you, great. If not, we'll try other things. And that's what it boiled down to. A very long presentation just for that. But changing a team's culture and the way they work is an interesting process. So
I will second that. I know QA in my team is trying to do that right now, and it's tricky.
Yeah.
What makes it tricky? Just out of curiosity.
We have a lot of contractors who have very established ways of doing things, and we're moving away from contractors to full-time employees that have their way of doing things. We got a new QA manager who's very skilled and very capable, and wants to use the tool set he's comfortable with and the methodologies he's comfortable with, and there is some pushback.
You guys have a lot of contractors, and we've been trying to tell you, hey, get us in there, and you're like, nope, all we have is full-time employees.
Appreciate that, John.
We are contractors. We are.
We're moving away.
That's what we do.
We're moving away from contractors.
Now you are.
No, we have
there now.
Here.
And
that's got nothing to do with it.
A year of a contract we could have had, John.
I heard the same thing you heard. I'm just saying.
I still have no poll. Don't worry about it.
fun. My other fun this week, there's been a billing script that runs daily that there's been known issues with. And it's like, well, if we just kick it off again, billing finishes, no big deal. Finally, I didn't know about this. They finally came to me and said, hey, do you think we could step debug this? We have Xdebug on a server. Can we step debug and figure out what's going on? And it's like, sure, let's try this out. This started Tuesday or Wednesday. And it's like, you get one shot at it. You run the script. It's got to run X number of transactions or attempts to transactions. And it either finishes successfully or it doesn't. But the really weird part is the script doesn't fatal error. It ends with the logging. So once you get out of the loop, there's a log entry that happens. Everything happens perfectly, except you're expecting X number of transactions and you get X minus whatever. It ends prematurely and you don't know why. So
It's timing
we
out.
get in there. No, it's not timing out because that would be a fatal error. That would be something in the error log saying, hey, this took longer than, and it's a CLI script. There's no timeout. It's not a timeout. You get past the point of you get outside the loop and you still get the log entry. So it's definitely not a timeout issue. We start step debugging and we come up with one theory. We're like, it might be the connection, like almost like you're saying, the connection to the database times out. So as you're looping and you're fetching the next record, it returns
Now I know
false.
how Eric feels. I just said that.
But that wasn't it. That's the funny part. That was the first thing we came up with. It wasn't it. We put logging in, everything's fine there. The next day we come back, we step through and we think we have it. We run it today. It finishes all of them successfully. So we didn't get to the failure point that we needed to get to. But I think this is a problem with active record. And we're using a really freaking old library that we've been trying to get rid of, but it's so hard. It's so embedded into the code base. But the active record itself stores the result ID, and there's a lot of global variables in this library, and it's a pain in the ass, but it's, again, legacy, very ingrained into the software, so getting rid of it's hard. As we're fetching out of the database, we clone the object so that you can work on that object alone and not affect the original, which makes sense. But now we're thinking the cloned object somehow erases data out of the global variable namespace or variables.
Yes.
And it's frustrating and it's annoying, and we think we know what's going on.
Did you look up what
don't.
cloning? Did you look up what object cloning does in PHP?
We know, we got it. I
It
understand
says
what it
very
does.
explicitly does not clone properties of an object.
No, it clones everything. It's a clone.
No.
Yes,
No.
it does. Yes, it does.
Uh,
Trust me. We because of this fucking legacy database, we use cloning more than we want to use cloning. So you can't mess with me on cloning. I'm just
gonna throw this. I'm just gonna throw this in our Discord. But yeah,
it remains references. All the data is still there.
Right,
and
but it's referenced. So if you're still
it's not
working,
a reference. This isn't a reference. The way this stupid library works, it's an ID. There's a number. Whether it's a reference or not, it doesn't matter. When you free an object, when you get rid of it, it calls an unset on a global variable that unsets a reference to the ID, that number.
So it unsets it on both of your cloned objects.
No, it unsets the global variable. Nothing to do with the object itself. It's global variables. Don't use global variables because they're nasty, and we all know that now. But again, this library was written for PHP 4 and has been bastardized to work on PHP 7.
That's the joke I was trying to get you to make.
It's not a joke. It's reality.
No, it's a joke.
We're stuck with it.
That is
So,
hilarious.
but it's annoying that it doesn't happen every single day. So we go to test it today, and it doesn't fail. And it's like, you failed the past 2 days when we wanted you to fail, and we had semi theories, but nothing concrete. And then like yesterday when it happened, we're like, we think this is it, but we need it to happen one more time to be sure.
Yeah, it's
And then today we run it and it doesn't happen. It's frustrating as hell.
it's Schrodinger's reference. As soon as you're looking at it, the cat's alive. As soon as you look away, though, that cat could be dead. You don't know.
It's true. Oh, but it's frustrating. So frustrating. That's been my week.
I mean, that was the ticket that we fixed in Laravel 9. Was that the cloning was happening in a place where it was returning a query builder object instead of a model. And so it was populating the model with all of the pivot table data, which if you have a pivot table that has an ID, overrides the ID of the model and gets it wrong. So cloning is a pain in the ass. I won't ever use it. Probably use it next week now that I've said that. But
You can't, yeah, you can't say you'll never use it. Active record is just it's a design pattern. Whether it's a good one or not is another story.
it sure does smell.
Yeah.
Can we get a link to that PR in the Discord there? Tom?
What, to our PR? I'm not gonna say mine anymore. I get fucking roasted over that.
I didn't say yours either. I said that PR. Let's be clear.
yeah. You
That's
can get that.
like me saying I've gone paragliding.
Which you should totally do. Come hang out with me.
Oh, I would paraglide in a heartbeat if I thought it would get my fat ass off the ground. I have no fear of that paragliding.
No,
But that's the way I approach most of the like physical things that are asked of me, though, which is like I'd love to, but they don't make things for the people my size.
Exactly.
you think that. You think that. I bet if you ask, they take up some big people.
Does this parachute
I-
come in a moo-moo?
I would totally. I used to bungee jump a lot. Oh, there was back in the day when bungee jumping was all hot. There were a bunch of bungee jumping places here in San Diego. I love that stuff. Paragliding. I want to go skydiving. I mean, I would do that. I think in a heartbeat as well. But yeah, paragliding definitely is right up there. I would, if I had an opportunity to do that, I would probably do that one. Yeah,
See,
no
I
issue with
want
that.
to skydive as well. And the funny thing is, this week sitting in class, there's somebody in my class that says, "Yeah, I just went skydiving," and like
I feel like that's how it would be.
We
Like
call
it
those
would
guys
be,
assholes.
it would be
Well,
it would be one of those things like I feel like I've lived so long, I've built it up so big in my head, and I've seen too many movies where I would expect it to be like this, like long fall thing, but no, it'd just be like a gush of wind blasting my face and then a parachute releasing, and I could totally, but you got to do it. If you have an opportunity to do it, you got to do it.
So we talked about it, and people have this, like, the free fall is fun, but a lot of people love the under canopy time. But then you're falling under a canopy, you're floating around, you get to look around, so you have that rush of the free fall. You get into the canopy, and then you're just kind of relaxed falling. Paragliding is that with control, so you can kind of maneuver where you want to maneuver. So
I wouldn't compare the two so much. You can go that way
No.
if you want, John, but
no, this wasn't me. This was somebody else in my class saying that because they were a paragliding student, when they went skydiving, it was more of a meh type of response than, oh, I love this.
yeah, I made that mistake myself in the past, and I still do it. I don't say it nearly as I rarely say it. My wife will say it more than I do, but I played baseball for a very long time. Even in adulthood, I played.
You do say that a lot.
Baseball leagues. Because of that, and it's hardball. So that's the thing that would blow a lot of people's mind. Oh, you're playing fast pitch hardball? It's like, yeah. So because of that, everybody that I knew that played on any softball team wanted me to play softball with them. And it's very much kind of the same situation you're describing, John, in the sense that, like, to me, it's two different sports, but it's like I understand that they're like based on each other, but like softball, I couldn't play competitive softball. I wouldn't want to play competitive softball. Like softball to me is something I would love to go out and do with friends, but I couldn't take the game seriously. That's what you shouldn't say to softball players. Don't say those words.
Not until you've done both.
I've played on softball teams with the people I work with and friends, and that's how I feel like it's meant to be. But like you get these competitive softball players, and I'm not at that level. Like that game does not, and it's not the same as baseball. There's a lot of nuanced differences that both the softball and baseball player understand, and I just couldn't. Like I had a lot of competitive softball player friends who wanted me to play with on their team, and I just couldn't do it. And they would be offended, and I understand it, but didn't change the fact that I'm not doing it.
So if I find out you can go tandem, you'll come out in tandem.
Oh, I'd do that. I mean, again, probably need two pair. Like the parachute needs to be able to carry a cow. Like if the parachute is graded for cow, I will consider it. But yeah,
you're approaching both founders of a company hit by a bus territory, though. So let's not get too into that idea.
I'm not taking him. I can't take anyone tandem. He can go by himself.
You can go eventually, though, right?
Well, it would take years. I have to progress.
Listen, if I'm gonna have anybody on my ass hugging me, I want it to be you, John.
Yeah, don't worry though. He'll just be late showing up to it.
That's true.
Well,
not usually.
So
very rarely.
We've had an interesting week for security vulnerabilities, and one of the best things you can do to handle security vulnerabilities is check your exceptions with something like Honeybadger.
When you're in production, 1,000 things can go wrong. You could deploy a bug in your latest release. Your background jobs can silently fail. Someone could trip over the network cable at your data center, and this all comes back to you. You need to know when bad things happen and be able to respond to them quickly. That's why we built Honeybadger. It's easy to install Honeybadger in your back-end applications and front-end JavaScript. It only takes a few minutes of configuration and you'll have monitoring done. That's because we hook into popular web frameworks, job systems, and the browser, so that when any of them crash, we can automatically let you know. We ping your application from our global fleet of servers to let you know about problems with connectivity, latency, and SSL certificates, and we monitor your recurring jobs to see if any of them stop recurring. When there's a problem, we alert your team using the tools you already use. We can create issues in GitHub, Jira, and other issue trackers, and send notifications via Slack, PagerDuty, or other channels. When you click through, you'll be taken to detailed information on the error. You'll see things like request parameters, headers, user information, and the backtrace. Click on any line of the backtrace to view it in GitHub, Bitbucket, or your local editor. When you fix a problem, just mark it resolved and follow up with the affected user. That's Honeybadger. We're the monitoring tool for web developers who'd rather be, well, developing.
Thank you,
Honeybadger.
So I have to ask a question, John, before we went on our little paragliding softball tangent. You were talking about this issue trying to track down a very rare and unique bug. Yes. Would you take any different approaches now, just out of curiosity? Maybe based on some information you have?
You would think I should. Logging is so important. Having all that information available to you. And if you had access to a magazine that perchance had an article about rare and unique bugs, that would be a good place to start.
Wouldn't it though? Wouldn't it be a good place to start? It's funny because I think you mentioned this last week, and I had just previously done my round of proofreading for the magazine. I knew you hadn't. And you're talking about this issue. I'm like, oh my God, read the magazine. Jesus Christ, read the magazine. So we have an article coming out for June from Edward Bernard, who talks about how to track down rare and unique bugs in your code and why you want to do it. And what John is talking about is the exact use case that he's kind of profiling in his article. Like stuff that you can't replicate, that rarely happens, and nobody really understands why it's happening. He explains to you how you capture that and allows you to do some debugging. So check it out.
It's fascinating because I love Ed's articles. He goes back to his early days, back when he worked for IBM and other companies, and how you had so little memory back then. We have the luxury of gigabytes, sometimes terabytes of memory at our disposal. And back then, what did he say? 64 megabytes that he had in. But the chip manufacturers had a way to store like the last 1,000 calls that were made, so that you could get a stack trace of what has happened, so you could know every event that had happened, trace through, and try and recreate the issues. It's a fascinating read, really is.
So Tom was going down a path around security, and we had a very interesting security exploit in the PHP world and the Python world. And the simplicity of the hack is just beautiful.
Ridiculous. It's so dumb.
So the person who did this hack was doing it for educational purposes. He wasn't claiming to be malicious, claiming not to be malicious, and explains how he does it. He had a script running, and let me make sure I can remember all the steps. But so let's worry about PHP. He did something very similar with Python, but we'll focus on PHP because that's the world we're in. He had a script running that would scrape through packages, look for repos that return a 404. So basically, the repo organization is no longer available. He would then create that organization under his account, and then what the script would also do is see if the email associated to that package was available, if the domain for that email was available to purchase. So basically, the developer had abandoned the domain as well. And if it was available for purchase, he would purchase the domain, set up an MX record, create the account that was associated with the package, and then trick GitHub into transferring over to him. And it worked.
Yeah, so there's little bits of dancing around. One thing is that it wouldn't let you create a package that had been archived. So if the person's GitHub account was abandoned or deleted, but the original package had still existed as an archived package, it wouldn't let you just overwrite that existing archive package. And the trick he did was to rename his account to a random number of characters, create the package in his account, and then rename the account back to the account he was trying to hijack.
Yeah. Well, initially what he did was he just created a new release, but he realized that a lot of dependencies would not automatically upgrade to the new release. So he did what Tom just said, which is kind of this like workaround for being able to release new code into the existing release by this back and forth that he did.
Yeah, and the result of this hack was basically just stealing AWS keys out of env files and sending them to him.
Huge.
It is huge. It's absolutely huge. It could have been any key that he wanted to steal. I mean, for Laravel, if you just steal the secret key for the whole framework, then you're in
Well,
trouble.
So were they?
But-
what did they get the entire env file? Or what were they getting? How were they getting
Well-
AWS
well, that-
keys?
That's the thing. The people would have to be storing. So they would have to be storing it in there somehow. I don't. That by itself, I would imagine would be a vulnerability, but I don't know, because you don't typically store your .env file in your repo. So
No.
not-
But the package, when you install the package and then run it on a system that does have the env, it would just send the envs over to him. And the PHPass.
Oh, that's
library,
right. You're absolutely right. I apologize. Say that again, Tom, for clarification.
So it's
I forget that piece.
once you update your system, you update your composer package, it pulls in the new modified version, and then when you run that on production, it sends over all your production env values. Now, in this case, he was only looking for AWS access key in your env file, or AWS access key and AWS secret key, and then he sent them over to a Heroku endpoint that he had spun up for this purpose. But still, I mean,
like,
this is
to your
a
point,
supply chain issue.
Anything in your .env file, Twitter API keys, your database information, all that is getting sucked over. And yes, this is. Go ahead.
That reminds me of another article written about supply chain vulnerabilities in the PHP Architect magazine. In Security
What?
Corner.
I didn't
Yeah.
bring it up by accident.
So
They did.
actually, I think so too.
I gotta go get
got a
another
question.
beer.
I haven't read what you posted here. So could this have been avoided based on your deployment practices? Like if you have a CI environment where you build everything, you do all of your composer install without a production env value, and then that gets deployed as artifacts to a server, that would have avoided a lot of this, right?
Nope.
I don't think so. I don't
Well,
think so because
what-
it's the code. It's the code running in the package.
I thought you
It's-
said on install.
No. This is
No.
the library that you're using here is compromised, making it a full-on remote code execution attack. Anything that he could start querying the database and dumping tables if he wanted to.
Gotcha.
He
If
just
you're
has to,
using the methods that he has made
Expecting.
vulnerable.
if he's
Right.
expecting it. As soon as that library that's compromised gets called, he can do whatever he wants.
Mhm.
Now he might have to know something about your system, but Laravel being the big thing, it's not hard to grab the DB credentials out of Laravel's ENV right now.
Right.
So you can really do whatever you want. Now, as far as mitigation goes, when I am updating a package, I'm doing it for a reason, and I'm only updating that one package. My lock file stays the same, and the composer lock file has a checksum verification against the version it's pulling from GitHub. So
Right.
that's one methodology. Another methodology is entirely running your own vendor directory as part of your code base, or as part of a separate code base where
But
you're
then
cloning it.
you're not getting the updates for that library.
you're not, but you're also not getting the updates that compromise your entire system. And this is the problem with supply chain vulnerabilities, and the problem
Well,
with
in the
Composer.
dependency responsibility too, where it's having too many dependencies. Fun fact: I want to put this out there real fast. That supply chain article by Eric Mann was I forget what release it was. World Backup Day, whatever month that was. March 20,
March.
happens to be the free article for that month. So that link should be coming into Discord, and when it does, you can click over there and you can download that article today. Understanding supply chain security. Thank you to the people at PHP Architect to bringing you the information that matters before it matters.
Those people, whoever those people are, assholes.
So one solution to this is signed packages, so that the third party who is producing these libraries has to sign them, so that just random code that's going out isn't random. They are signing off on it and saying, I approve of this release. And that's a big thing that everyone's talking about in the NPM space, because NPM got plagued by this, 20 times last year?
But wouldn't that, in this scenario, and I'm not saying you're wrong, as a matter of fact, one of the biggest hiccups I had on my rebuild of my system was I do signed commits, and I, for the life of me, couldn't remember how to configure my system to automatically do signed commits. I even went back to PHP Storm thinking, okay, let me just use PHP Storm because I got to get this commit done, and it wasn't working either. It was time to generate new keys anyway, so I went ahead and did that. But back to this story. In this instance, that really wouldn't have fixed this, right? Because he could have created a new GPG key because he had access to the domain.
But if you're expecting a signature for a package in a previous version and the new version does not match the signature,
but the public key is on. But the public key is on packages, isn't it? And then if he has access to,
you cannot sign.
And how could a regular developer rotate their key then?
Right.
Because you're supposed to rotate your key.
There are methodologies for that.
But that's not the point. If you're signing your commits, the public key is on packages, right?
The public key is for verification. You still sign with your private key.
Right, but where's the public key at? Follow my reasoning here.
Right. So theoretically, the public key is in your composer lock, and it compares the new incoming version with the old version. Or there's ways of setting up.
That's different.
Yeah, it's not a solution. And I'm not saying it's a solution. I'm saying it's another hoop to jump through. But if the developer's computer gets hacked, that doesn't help you either. This is just supply chain vulnerabilities are going to be the more common way that all of this shit goes down. And auditing change logs is really the only thing you can do as a developer, where you see a new version 5.11. Now, that wouldn't have helped in this case because there wasn't a previous version. But
well, not only that, but the issue with dependencies of dependencies of dependencies, Yeah.
So my point being is, if they had the public key in something like packages or another service, now they have access to the domain, they can easily change the public key. But you're saying, I've installed version 1, I've saved the public key at that point in time, I upgrade, I'm comparing the signature to the public key I have of version 1, but that prevents me as a developer from rotating my keys.
That and Packagist and Composer need to have security ratings for all of the libraries that are involved. If you're pulling something from Composer and there's no GitHub account that this vulnerability can be used against, then it needs to throw up a big red flag that says verify your code security because this account can be compromised easily. I mean, he's outlined how he created the tool to give him the 2 most popular libraries to do this against. And that tool is going to be run by someone else, hopefully a gray hat or a white hat, who just fixes all of it, possibly even becomes a component of GitHub, how to manage this kind of supply chain vulnerability. But GitHub was not intended to be a source of truth for every developer in the world pulling in 1 out of 1,000 libraries that they're running for their system. There are huge holes in the supply chain that need to be resolved in order for this to not happen again. And one of them is not relying on GitHub. As much as I love GitHub and it works great and it does all this fancy stuff, publishing to Packagist should not just be a link to one of your GitHub releases. It should be something else. And Packagist should not.
What do you mean? What do you mean should be something else?
When you publish to Packagist, there should be checks in place to verify that you're you and that this thing is what you intended to push. I mean, in my office, we have code reviews. But when you write something like an update to Laravel or an update to PHPass or whatever, there's no code review process. You just say, like, send it out, sail it. And once it ships, it's shipped. Maybe packages should be implementing some kind of code review stuff. Or, I mean, we can sit and try to come up with a billion solutions, but the problem is that this is a supply chain attack and there's going to be a lot more of them.
I think a lot's being made out of the fact that this is an open source supply chain attack, which, yes, that's true. But
what isn't now?
Yeah. Well, in the fact that this can very easily be done in proprietary environments as well, with less visibility. So it's like the attack that happened with the PHP core and somebody imitating one of the developers and trying to get some code pushed through. That got caught because of its visibility. So yeah, I just feel like I always get a little defensive when things are like kind of categorized as, hey, this is a problem with open source. No, it's not a problem with open source. It's a problem with development and how development workflows work. But yeah.
Well, so interesting question for this guy who did this hack, though. Is the Justice Department going to go after him for hacking hundreds of web servers? And the big news this week about that is that no, the Justice Department has decided that if you're a white hat or somewhat gray hat, if you're a good faith security researcher, even if you broke the law in your research, they're not going to prosecute you. They're not going to try and send you to jail. Which is a big move forward for companies that have to do this kind of work. Hold on. Roger says he agrees with me.
Yeah, I was just about to
let's move on.
We're going to put him in timeout. He's obviously drunk and should not be on Discord.
Just want to point out someone agrees with me this episode.
We're not saying we don't agree with you. At least I'm not.
All right, time check. Where are we at with time check?
I think it's time to thank our patrons on Patreon.
Nice.
Look at that beautiful animated, formerly animated.
Kind of animated?
Semi-animated.
Somewhat frequently, infrequently animated.
This is what you can expect from Harry Mack at the end of the show.
kind of stuttering a little bit, yeah.
Or completely stopping.
Now, I happen to know for a fact that everybody on this list are not current Patreon supporters, and I'm going to find out who you are, because I need to dump the list again and rebuild this screen. Whoa, what's happening?
It's getting real fast now.
Apparently a tornado has hit.
He went from calm and soothing to, oh my gosh, cover your heads, get out of the way.
But yes, thank you for everybody who's been supporting us. Some people on this list have literally supported us for years. Little contribution. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably time we send out some stickers again, because we did get a good amount of new people last couple months. And you know what? We have a new logo that maybe I need to order stickers again.
I thought we got like boxes of those stickers.
Oh, did we? Did we already get stickers with the new logo, John?
I will look. I'll let you know.
Yeah, okay. Maybe everybody needs to get new stickers. And if you don't, if everybody doesn't get new stickers, it's because John shot me down. So I'm the good guy, he's the bad guy. Just remember that.
Yeah,
Christmas.
that's probably true. In our long,
we were going to have a meeting about it, but he didn't show
we need
up.
to come up with a little something extra for some of our long-term supporters, huh?
I couldn't agree with you more.
A little something.
Free tickets to PHP Tech? No? Did I talk too soon?
Yeah. Wow, that's going to get cut from the final episode. Jesus.
I didn't say that's what it was. I was just throwing it out there as a suggestion.
Yep.
Now you're gonna make me look like the bad guy.
Dig that hole.
That's my goal, man. I always need a bad guy.
No.
Now I got some news this week.
No.
I got some news this week from our Discord channel.
Wait. If you support us for 15 years on Patreon, yes, I'll give you tickets to PHP Tech.
That's gonna fucking come back up. You know that's gonna come back up.
Okay, I'll be fine with that. You support us for 15 years, I'll make it happen.
You're gonna have to send Buttery tickets to Japan.
But if you support us for another 10 years from now, you
Buttery,
get tickets too.
I think send me some hotel information and we'll talk about Tech Japan in 2025. That's what I feel like. Yes.
That's when you'll have the headspace. COVID will almost be over.
2035? What?
25. It's 22 now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm giving us like 3 years. We're
Don't
good.
you know 2025 is the year of the monkeypox?
The Rising Sun PHP Tech inaugural.
I don't
year.
know. The Setting Sun PHP Tech Conference sounds better.
Yeah, don't
like,
hold us to that.
We
He
have
doesn't know what he's talking about.
Hold us to it, Buttery. Hold us to it.
we have a number of elder care homes in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs has great medical care and everything, but the names of these Alzheimer's care homes, they need to stop with this creativeness that they think they have, because it is not funny.
Oh, come on, share.
Like Setting Sun memory care, or like it's all this like, so you're about to die, but we built like a little thing for you to die in. It's terrible. Faded Memories elderly home. That's terrible.
You just want to keep reminding them, hey, you are on your way out. So let's not get too comfortable. Just come on in, finish out your days, and move on.
I got some news from Discord. Discord.phpugly.com. That I'm amazed did not show up on our Trello board here. HP has teamed up with System 76 for a new Linux laptop.
Where did you see that?
What?
So
did you put it in Trello?
There's
now.
HP is going to be launching a Linux-based laptop preloaded with Pop! OS.
What? See,
It's
now I totally thought we've been saying this for a while, that Microsoft was going to buy Ubuntu. I thought Microsoft should be looking at System 76 now, because it's a complete supply chain for them. So this is interesting. I hope this isn't the beginning of the end of System 76 and them making the hardware, because it's not only that they make hardware and hardware designed for Linux, but they open source as much of the hardware as they possibly can. They're very good stewards of the open source community. And I really hope this isn't them trying to say, okay, we want to get out of the hardware business.
Listen to this, though. Listen to this.
No.
It's built around an 8-core AMD Ryzen Pro 7 CPU. Just a monstrous CPU. With 16 gigs of RAM, upgradable to 64 gigs, and a 1 terabyte NVMe. This is the CPU that AMD is saying is gonna hit 5 gigahertz, which is just incredible.
All I know is 64 gigabytes sounds like a lot, but all of a sudden you throw up 2 things at it, and all of a sudden you're out of memory. It's like, how
throw one Chrome at
happen?
it, yeah, one instance of Chrome and one Harry Mack video, and it just starts chugging.
Yeah, it's like, how? You've got so much memory. How is it? Anyway,
John, how many cores does your machine have? Because maybe I'm reading mine wrong.
Should
I
be
don't know how
4.
you're reading it.
I think I have 32. I can't be right though.
What? No. What? You guys have the Threadrippers.
Thelio R2. So you have a command, or you might have a command. You might need to install it. Neofetch, NEOFETH.
I do not have that.
You do not? Do an app install of that real quick. But I think I have 32 cores. Let me go to System 76. I have fallen so far out of touch with hardware and understanding hardware. I just look for the biggest numbers and order them now. It's absolutely horrible. I used to understand this stuff.
Yeah, you are a terrible person. So just neofetch.
Yeah, NEOFETCH, all one word.
So you just run that. Crap, did I just give you my env files?
Yes, it just sent me all your env files. That's the weirdest password. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm telling you. I think I have a lot of cores. Like, no, threads. It must be threads. They're not cores. They're threads.
Yeah, threads are
Oh,
different. There's like 8 threads per core.
I don't know.
Okay.
Where are you looking at?
What CPU do you have?
Under the CPU. It says CPU right there. My CPU is AMD
Oh, yeah.
Ryzen 9 3950X, and it says 32 after that at 3.5 gigahertz.
16 core. 16 core.
16 core. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll just
So
say
I don't
mine's
understand.
We'll say mine's the same as yours.
Yours is bigger, isn't it?
That's what she said.
What? I got envy. I got so envious. So John and I worked together last Thursday. We worked remotely together, and I still have my MacBook that I take with me when I work remote, and I just SSH into my desktop. John got a System 76 laptop, and my God, is it beautiful? It's light. It is so light. It is smaller than my
It's
MacBook.
crazy light. Yeah.
I don't know how well you have that one spec'd out. Man, I was very envious of that laptop. I don't know how well it's working for you, but just feeling how light it was.
I don't work remotely enough. I need to work remotely more to get everything installed on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had it up to speed enough last week when you and I worked together to actually get stuff done. That was the first time where I've really sat down and used it for work.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had it off and on. Like I took it on a plane with me, but it
Didn't really
ran
use
out of
it.
power. I didn't use it.
And which laptop was that again?
The Lemur Pro.
The Lemur. Wow, that thing was nice. It felt a little
so
like
light.
after having Macs for so long, the
It feels
plastic
cheap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not, but it kind of has a plastic feel, like yeah, kind of cheap. But it's man, it's so light though. My God.
Yeah, I definitely like that part of it, and we're gonna work together more, right? Coming up, and
that is the idea.
If you show up. So I don't know what it is about Eric's animosity, like rubs off on me so easy. It's just like I start getting real insulted by it.
I felt so bad. My nephew is in the Navy. Haven't seen him in a few months because he switched to nights. He's like finally able to. The first night he's able to make it to come over because he has a 4-day weekend starting today. Today off through Sunday, and he's going camping. He's like, "Hey, do you have camping equipment?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've got camping equipment." So he made a point to come over, and like I told him, come over around 5. Like I get off work at 5. Come over 5-ish. The kids have to be in bed at 7:30-ish. He gets here at 7:15. Meanwhile, we have like my wife made a great dinner, and we waited as long as we could. And we're like, all right, we're just gonna eat. Kids ate, we ate. So when he finally shows up, like, all right, you want some food? You can eat. And he has a friend that he brought over, which was nice. And it just became a late night. And then like I said, all of a sudden I'm like, crap, I have a 8:30 meeting that I missed. And then I saw your messages to me.
So
Fun.
as you described it before the show, he brought over a girl who could be a friend, could be a girlfriend, you didn't know. But then in your description just now,
Hence before the show.
But your description just now made it
Before the
1,000
show?
times worse because you just said he brought over a friend.
I don't know.
That's worse. That is worse because
No,
the
it is
implication
not.
there is that he might be gay. You're not sure yet. It's okay if he is. We don't know if this is a
Exactly.
friend or a friend.
She was a female that he brought over, but I didn't bring that up on the show for a purpose.
You could have just
because
said friend. Brought over a friend. We hung out, had a good time.
You're the one that went to gay, and we don't know.
No, he's actually right, Tom.
No, I'm
You put too much
100%.
emphasis on the word friend there.
You put the hard G on gay there.
I did not.
Friend? I don't. Hey, in this house we don't judge.
She was very nice, and but
it's not getting better.
I don't know where they are at together, other than they're going camping together, which
that's fine. How many tents?
They borrowed one tent from me. I don't know if they have another tent or not. They borrowed one sleeping bag from me. Actually, they didn't borrow a sleeping bag at all.
4 condoms. I don't know what they're using them for.
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spotlight like that, but you put the friend. It was unnecessary.
That was meant for you guys because we talked before we recorded.
There are like 400 other people that listen to this podcast. That having that emphasis on he might be gay. I don't know. It was.
I don't think so, but I don't care. No,
I don't care.
She was very nice,
and I've ruined everything.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
She's gonna find out this podcast exists. Think that it's weird that his whole family just jumps to conclusions.
I'm curious. I'm curious where they're at together.
I'm just kidding. She will never find out this podcast exists.
No, don't say that, man. I have found out so many people listen to the podcast who I thought would never listen to the podcast. It's really. I went and caught John's kids' t-ball game and listened to the mother-in-law talk about
mother-in-law. Yeah,
listening to the podcast. I'm like,
she listens every week.
This is weird.
Somebody in the outfield goes, "Hey, I know that voice. I know that voice."
Well, did you see Sherry Wheeler's tweet? I think it was today. She tweeted that her kids are starting to recognize my voice. I'll put that. Let me find that one. I love seeing that stuff. We got to send her kids stickers now.
Yeah. If you hear that voice in public, find an adult.
It's weird when my mother-in-law is over and she'll be talking to me and she references something on the show. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you just talked about it last week. I'm like, oh, that. You're not supposed to listen that closely. You're supposed to be watching TV and semi-listening to the show, not listening completely.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be background noise. I mean, that's how I listen to it while recording.
You guys, I was like, you guys don't listen to it. Once you guys are done with this show, you're done. You're done. I could be putting things in here. You guys never listen to the show. Not that it hurts me or anything, but I listen to it like 4 or 5 times. I edit it. I listen to it post-edit. Yeah,
and
I'm just saying.
Again, post-edit.
Yeah.
Mental health is important.
You're obsessed.
You should stop whatever it is that you're doing.
I can't find that
tweet
now.
I want to close out on some good news.
Okay, let's hear
it. 8.2, which is going to be feature frozen any day now, is still managing to improve upon the build for build performance. It's not like it's a significant percentage of anything, but PHP 8.2 is faster by most standard PHP benchmarks than 8.1, and we're getting more features. This is the direction I want to see it going. And whoever is the release manager should be very proud. Whoever isn't should live in shame.
Go to hell, Tom.
To be fair, you didn't put your hat in the ring this time.
I'm saying that for Eric Mann as well. Just go to hell, Tom.
It's true. We do have Eric Mann.
I got
Unfortunately,
you, buddy.
Erics just are not fit to be release managers.
Oh, Sherry posted that to Mastodon. Listen, we have gotten so many people on the phpc.social Mastodon. It's really becoming like this PHP haven of great conversation. If you're not there, you guys need to jump over there. I'm posting this link in Discord.
Yeah, but when I did jump over there, somebody was questioning, like, is this you? Who else is claiming John Congdon? That's a stupid name.
First thing, it wasn't John Congdon. It was Jay Congdon. And, I don't know, John. Maybe there's some hackers out there who like to assume the identity of other people to try to get sensitive information about certain things. I don't know. Maybe it would be a good thing to get to a new social media platform and claim the name of people of other social media. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying things like that can happen.
Oh, okay, what's the URL for this again?
For what?
For the Mastodon channel.
Oh, you want the invite?
Social.
Yeah, let me send you the invite so that you guys can bounce right into there. Because I get 3 cents for everybody who signs up with my link. That's not true. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, doesn't.
Yeah, that's. But I do have a link that.
Wow, we got so many people from our Discord channel on there.
Yeah. Yes, I do, John. Yes, I do. Oh, I post that in Discord. Okay, this is going to come in Discord again because I got to put it in Trello. Sorry for our Discord viewers, but nope, not that one. God damn it! All right, I'll keep that.
Did you read what Buttery wrote? Come on now.
No, I haven't gotten back to the Discord.
Oh, Buttery.
Oh boy.
There we go.
Yeah,
just ignore those links.
Can't put that on the air.
Of course you can, because
Buttery,
you've got us banned from YouTube anyway. So what does it matter?
I did not,
John. That's actually a great name for you. You should you should really think about it.
Middle name King.
For the audio listeners,
think I haven't
I'm
heard,
sorry.
You think I haven't heard that one before? And the other one, my nickname wasn't Trojan and in high school for nothing.
What? You had to go make it weird, John. Why'd you do that?
You've totally ruined this.
I'm good at that.
Okay, I want to wrap this up. Are we done?
Yes.
Yeah, I gave my good news.
We've done like 30 minutes ago.
I don't know why.
We've overcommitted. I feel like we've overcommitted on a lot of fronts here, so I'm happy with all that. So I think that's going to do it.
Overcommit? What did we overcommit on?
Well, we're going to have PHP Tech in Japan in a couple of years, and you're going to start giving PHP passes to longtime Patreon supporters. John, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. You overcommitted. And maybe we'll get new stickers out as well. Maybe. We'll see. All right. I'm signing checks. My ass can't cancel, can't cash, can't whatever.
Yeah, just push the early bird to 1 week before the event, and you'll cover the expenses.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We are in the planning process of PHP Tech. By the way, I'm not keeping this secret. It's not going to be a secret. We're putting it out there to hold our feet to the fire and get it done. And we are planning, and we are looking for corporate sponsorship. So if you work for a company that's willing to give us a sponsorship, it's really going to help us with our planning process. And
that feels targeted explicitly at me.
I'm just saying, if you have money, send it our way. Just a few extra pennies.
Never mind that. I have nothing.
But really, I can't be more serious. We joke around a lot. We need some. This probably won't happen without some good corporate sponsorship. John and I are taking it as far as we can with the funds that we have, and I'll promise you, we are not going to give up. But we are going to have to get some big donors to kind of help us get it across the finish line. So if you work for a company. Sponsors.
You get something out of it. Donors get nothing. Sponsors get something.
Well, let's stick with donors then. What's wrong with you?
True. Good point.
But if you work for a company, if you know somebody who works for a company, if you have a friend of a friend, if you go to church with somebody who works with somebody who knows someone at another place, please get those connections working for us. We really, really need it. And I appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate it. From me, from John, from everybody at PHP Architect, we appreciate it. Okay, that's going to be it. Episode 288 is in the book. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
I'm Tom. Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average.
I'm really curious to see how long this audio works.
Well, we can't hear anything, so.
Which is fine. Don't share it with us. Don't share it with us. Don't share it with us. If it's working, don't share it with us.
You know they be smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this,
do
because
exactly
the people
the
love me.
opposite of what they
Shouts out
said.
to PHP, the ugly. It's
At least
called
it was on
ugly
time.
because it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting. I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah.